We've come over to Latitudes, a Fontaine 43 owned by Tony and Vicki Little. We're going to have a chat to Tony and Vicki about their life aboard. So here we are with Tony and Vicki on Latitudes. Hi guys. Okay, so tell me guys, what got you into this life on board Latitudes?
Beats working.
That's a good one.
Too many years in the office doing too many hours.
Yeah.
Too much traffic.
Yeah. Too much chaos.
Much rather be on a boat.
Yeah. What about you, Vic?
Well, I think I introduced Tony to it.
Did you really? How did that happen? Tell me about that.
We went for a charter for our honeymoon in the Whitsundays. I thought, this is good.
This is a good look.
Yeah.
We need to do more of this shit.
Yeah, went back, bought a boat.
Yeah, it was instant. We actually bought a Vanderstat ketch monohull.
38-footer.
38-foot Vanderstat ketch. How beautiful boat.
Awesome. How long ago was that?
2004?
Yes.
Yeah, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, but every time we sailed, the beer fell over. I thought, this isn't good, we need another hull.
Because the Vanderstat's a monohull.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously you've got a cat now. Tell me a bit more about why you decided on a cat. What's the benefit? Okay, I know your champagne doesn't fall over.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't fall over. There's more space.
Yeah.
More
Space to put things.
And what about at sea? How do you find the cat at sea compared to a monohull?
Beam on sea zone is good. They slop a little bit. Whereas a monohull will heel over and hobby horse and just hold its track.
Yes.
You don't want beam on seas in a catamaran. So they're either just off the nose or just behind.
Okay, but that's just a matter of working with it, isn't it?
Yeah, go.
And a little bit of getting used to it.
Work out where you want to go and then sail off in a totally different direction. You'll end up getting there.
Yeah.
And remembering that a catamaran doesn't spill wind like a mono does.
Yes, yeah, with the heeling, the leading over, heeling.
Yeah.
I remember an old bloke once said to me years ago, he said that the whole thing with the actual sailing component of living aboard, you've got to remember that 90% of the time you're going to be in a marina or on an anchor. 10% of the time is when you're actually sailing around.
Getting somewhere.
Doing trips.
That is so true.
The idea is to pick your wind.
And it's not all hinged on sailing in 15 to 30 knot winds in the open ocean. That's just a transit phase.
Yeah.
So the cat gives you a lot more stability in terms of flat water, comfort, space. Champagne doesn't spill. What about the pitfalls? What's the downsides of having a cat?
There's two of everything.
That's also the benefit too, right?
It is handy to have two motors, two hulls.
Yep.
To get guests on board, they can have one hull, we have the other, so you're not in each other's space all the time.
Yes.
That's good. But then when you go to park it, you're paying for a bigger boat and a wider boat. When you anti-foul, you've got anti-foul two hulls instead of one hull.
Yep.
To service a motor, you have to service two motors.
Yes. So it's a trade-off, really, isn't it?
It
Same
is
with
a
everything.
trade-off.
There's always a price to pay. And I guess one of the other aspects is the initial purchase cost is considerably higher than typically a monohull.
Yeah, it's bigger.
And
Two of everything.
Yeah.
And the gear's heavy as well because they don't spill wind, so you typically use shrouds and stays. This is a 43 cat, so the shrouds and stays would be twice the diameter of those on a 43-foot mono because they've got to put up with exponentially 4 times the amount of energy.
Yes. Yes.
And then you still break things.
Yes. Okay, cool. So guys, tell me how you sustain life financially on the boat. Like, did you win the lottery? Did you walk away with a gazillion-dollar super?
Well, our previous cat was on a charter boat around in the Gold Coast. It was a little sunbird. We took it to Tasmania and Bass Strait was a bit scary for it, so we thought we need a bigger boat. To get a bigger boat, it wouldn't fit at the house, so we just sold the boat and the house.
Yes.
Bought this one.
Yes.
Put the rest of the money in the bank. Bought a little house on Russell Island.
Yes.
So I go back each year at Christmas time, work for 3 or 4 months doing training. It's my gig. I'm a trainer, and then we come away and
What sort of training?
maritime, coxswains, first aid, radio, all those sort of
Safety?
safety, all those sort of things.
You're also a dive instructor too, aren't you?
I was.
You were a dive instructor.
Yeah.
So basically, you sustain this lifestyle by maybe 3 or 4 months a year, going back to your base on Russell Island near Brisbane, do some work there to top up the kitty, and then while you're cruising around, you're doing other training. You can do some bits and pieces on the boat here.
Yeah, well,
'cause you've got
with the
space.
maritime background as well, we did 2 resorts on the way up. Stopped in there, and they liked me teaching there because dive instructor, commercial skipper, trainer, first aider, so I can teach their first aid staff from a maritime background, which is what the resort's like.
Yes.
So then get up here in the Whitsundays, and I've got a few places here I teach each year as well. So
Okay.
with a cat, I've got a whole office devoted to all the first aid gear and the dummies and the defibrillators and printer and the scanner and the laptop and the paperwork and all that. So on a mono, that'd be one whole cabin just tied up.
Yeah. So that enables you to basically be working while you go.
Which is good and bad. It's nice to get away from work, but it's good to be able to help and put a few dollars in the till every now and then.
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. So tell me about maintenance, in particular on a catamaran. What kind of maintenance regime do you have?
Vic's got her own washing machine.
Yes, I
So-
do
On
have
board,
my
yeah.
little
Yeah.
my little camping washing machine. That's a twin tub thing.
Awesome.
It does 2 queen size sheets and 2 pillowcases at a time, and
It
Yeah.
doesn't use a lot of water.
use 30 litres of water, and I use eucalyptus rather than soap suds,
Okay, nice.
so you don't have to rinse.
Yeah.
So-
And do you have a water maker on board?
Yes,
Yeah.
40 litre an hour.
And could you live without that?
You could do.
Yeah.
Just going to limit some of your voyages.
Beautiful to drink.
Oh,
The
yeah.
problem with desalinated water, because that's what they do, is it takes all the salts out.
Yes.
And if you're living on a boat where you're living on desal water, like Stewie and Di, they've got to add salts and things to the water, because if you're drinking pure water with no salts in it, it's
Yes.
bad for your body.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So you find a lot of people that are living on desal water will do rice and potatoes, for example, with seawater
Yes.
to get the minerals and the salts back in that
To get the
the
balance.
desal's taken out. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting to know. So tell me about your maintenance regime. Yeah, you've got obviously mechanical stuff, you've got rigging, then you've just got general living maintenance like you would have in a house. So just
Yeah, the
touch
usual
on that.
things you have with the house, but we put it up on the hard every, I suppose, 3 months? Put it up on the beach, because being a cat, it'll
when
take the beach.
Tony, when Tony says put it up on the hard, we go into an area where the tide goes out. She sits on her little mini keels
yes.
comfortably, and we just wait for the tide
You
to
can
come
do
in.
anodes and check your anti-foul, clean the props,
And that's just
Whatever.
kind of preventative
do
stuff.
the leg
Yeah.
oil, which I try and do every 100 hours, and the engine oil.
The leg oil on the props,
On the props,
on the
yeah.
drive shafts.
Yeah,
and
the only
stuff,
way
yeah.
to get it out properly is drain it. So
Yeah.
up on the hard, put a pan under it, change the leg oil.
Okay.
That's it. So I just keep a track of the engine hours and change filters and oils as appropriate when appropriate.
Okay, none of that's really hard. You don't need a specialist to do a lot of that stuff.
I did engineering when I was doing my commercial skipper's ticket,
Yes.
and when I fitted both these motors, when I knew I fitted them myself.
Okay.
So I know what goes in there and how it's done up and how tight things should be and all that sort of business.
Yeah.
If you aren't prepared to do it yourself, you're looking at about $95 an hour to have a mechanic on board.
Yeah. But most general maintenance for engines, or engine singular for monohull, or engines for catamarans, a lot of the ongoing maintenance you could pretty much do yourself, couldn't you? Like changing engine oil and oil filters and fuel filters.
Yeah, that's basic
Yes.
stuff. That's
Yeah.
easy peasy.
Yeah.
But, one of the advantages of the Fontaine Peugeot when we've got to do engine work is I can unbolt the engine from the gearbox and get a little hand winch and actually lift the whole engine up out of the engine bay
Quite easily.
without having to pull it apart and slide it out from under bunks and things like that.
Yeah, okay. That's good to know. Okay, so what about you, Vic, from a maintenance point of view? What do you see from your perspective?
It's like a house. You get your mould and you get your dust, and then you have a dust storm and the place is filled with this brown dust
And you
from
get
the
blocked
west.
sinks and
Blocked sinks and blocked toilets.
we get a vacuum and we have got enough vacuum cleaner bags left. And
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
not worth going 200 miles to get over the ocean to get a new vacuum cleaner bag.
No,
So you just deal with it.
Just deal with
You
it.
adapt.
get the little dustpan out and tidy up occasionally.
And dust can be surprisingly big one on a boat, can't it? Often you can sit in a marina and near the coast, and there might be a big westerly, and
Especially for somewhere like Gladstone, you get that bauxite dust.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's bauxite
Yeah,
dust.
and if they're
Coal
some
dust.
parts of the coast as well, if they're burning off sugar cane,
yep,
you get that black sugar cane flake all over the boat, and then it rains. You got these grey puddles everywhere.
yep,
You know the feeling.
yeah, absolutely. Been there, done that. I've had a lot of experience with dust, even with the fires last year as we were heading down the coast.
That's
We
right. Yeah.
had lots of red dust every morning, even 10 miles out to sea. It's amazing. But okay, cool. So that's maintenance. So it's yes, you'll have times where you need specialists, but a lot of the running maintenance you pretty much just do it yourself.
Yes, yes.
Each year, the insurance company likes you to get a rigging report done.
Yes.
So go to your favourite marina where you know they do good work, and they'll come on the boat and check all the standing and running rigging and let you know what might be falling apart, what might need fixing.
Okay.
It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah.
There's those that don't do it, and they'll pay the price after 2 or 3 years when something separates at the wrong time.
Yes. And it's not supposed to.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So got a question for you now, Vicky.
Yes.
From a woman's perspective, how do you find this sailing life? Like, tell me the good, the bad, the ugly. What's your wrap on it?
Oh, I can't.
I know
oh,
it's a big question.
I'm the good.
The only ugly is the bad weather,
Yeah.
and you've got to watch for the weather, the tides, and that's a bit of a pain in the neck. But the good overrides all that with the space. You don't have to listen to your neighbour because you can move,
Yeah.
And
You're in environments like
you
you are
can change
now.
your backyard
Yeah.
every day, and it's every morning you wake up and it's wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a really good thing. What about entertaining? Like with the Catamaran, obviously you've got this beautiful big back deck, and you guys are pretty social, aren't you? You...
Oh, look, social. Man.
We're best friends with people we don't even know.
Yeah, that's right. That's so true. No, it's great.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a big family, the cruising community.
And that is a good thing, and that also gives you lots of support too and access. Even when we were talking about maintenance, you don't know something. Sometimes you can ask the guy on the boat next door, and he might be an engineer. Or
put it on Facebook or get on the radio, and there's always somebody in the anchorage who's got a spare part for this or a bit for that or a roll of sticky tape or 6-pack of beer or whatever you run out of.
Yeah, and they're typically, I've found in the years that I've been sailing, that typically cruising or sailing people are all extremely helpful.
Yes, they want to help.
Like you go to Suburban and you want to borrow a litre of fuel for your mower next door, and he's liable to hit you with the spade.
Or stick the dog onto you.
Yeah, but here the cruising thing it is a big family, whether you know people or not. You know,
we went into Double Island Point, remember the lagoon that formed there earlier this year?
Yeah.
And there's boats everywhere. Crikey, there's got to be a room there somewhere. And this bloke's come out to us in a dinghy, and it was Tony Longhurst. He said, "Follow me, I'll show you where to put the anchor down." Beauty.
Tony Longhurst, the race car driver.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Boatworks
ex-rate car
And the
driver.
owner of Boatworks, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he recognised the boat and came out to show us where to park.
Yeah, and that's
Nice of him.
And that's, I think, one of the other things with the boating fraternity, that there's no, what's the word I'm looking for, the social steps.
There's
Hierarchy.
The hierarchy, that's it. It kind of just blows away. Doesn't matter if you're worth $2,000 or 20 million. Everyone just sits
We've
with
had
it.
friends out here in boats they bought for $2,000.
Yeah.
They get the same view, they get the same weather.
Yeah. And they belong to the same family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boating people. Okay, cool. I'm just going to ask each of you now, Vicki first, ladies first. Tell me the one most enjoyable and exciting thing about living on a boat.
Oh, it's
Just sum it up. I know there's... What's the first
It's
thing?
freedom. Freedom.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So freedom to do what you please, when you please.
Go where you want.
Yeah.
Peace.
We all still have bills and we've got to pay the man and all that sort of stuff, but it's freedom. Okay, cool. What about you, Tony?
Oh, it ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
A lot of places you can only see by boat, a lot of places you can only go.
Yes.
Tomorrow we're going out the reef for a week.
Yep.
Pick a reef.
It's the Great Barrier Reef, yeah?
Pick a reef,
awesome.
go for a dive, go for a fish,
Awesome.
whatever.
So that's still pretty much that freedom thing,
Freedom.
isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people pay a lot of money to go to these sort of places.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Guys, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And hope to see lots more of you out in the ocean.
Oh, you will.
You will.
Enjoy. Cheers.
Thank you.